between the Rotary Club of Makati and the Rotary Club of Makati West. I am Dino Pakashar and I am your moderator for today. Presently, our highlights from the Rotary Club of Makati are ready.
Okay. On behalf of the Rotary Club Makati, I'm calling this meeting to order.
President Max Carlos, Rotarians from the Rotary Club of Makati West are ready.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Makati West, I'd like to call this meeting to order.
To lead us in prayer.
May I ask everyone to please rise? Let's all spend a few minutes of self-prayer and gratitude. Heavenly Father, in the spirit of the week that was, where you've sent as a sacrifice for your only begotten Son, Jesus, and the spirit of Easter, Father, thank you so much for everything that you've done for each and every one of us in this room, our families, and the nation as a whole. Lord, we ask for your blessings and continued provision for everyone in the Rotary Club of Makati and the Rotary Club of Makati West, as you bless the work of their hands, as you bless the projects and everything that they're doing to have a better Philippines. And in this afternoon, Father, thank you as you continue to also bless our guest speaker, PPTG Limcauco, as you impart in him the knowledge and wisdom that he has for everyone in this room for this afternoon. Thank you, Father, for today, and thank you so much for everything that you have for us through the rest of the afternoon. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I'd like to ask everyone to remain standing for the Philippine National Anthem, followed by the Rotary Club of Makati hymn and the Rotary Club of Makati West hymn.
Witness a history in our lifetime as we bring back to life what a true Rotarian should be. Service above self, unity in diversity, and inclusivity, all for one and one for all. This is our chance. This is our time to rise up and be the example of what humanity can achieve. Together, let's create hope in the world. So let us sing with one voice the Philippine National Anthem.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, etos ng sigatanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinihang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa mandulugin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagatak tutok sa sikoy at sa langit ng pagaw, ay hinagang tulan, awit sa pagkayang minamahal, ang isang ng matawad mo'y tatubay na nagtitindig, ang inumin at araw niya kailan, ang kanyang nagtitindig, luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling ko. Ang hindi kaya naman ay mag-aapi, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. succeed. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, and together we stand proud. We are leaders with integrity, always ready to serve humanity, always living by the four-way test, building goodwill and peace along the way, giving hope to the world. We're the Rotary Club of Makati, giving hope to the world. The Rotary Club of Makati. Rotarians, we take the lead to lend a hand to brothers in need. Service above self is our creed, promoting goodwill through meaningful deeds. The Rotary Club of Makati West, helping communities the way we know best. Men of action, men with zest, we are Rotarians doing our best. We show the way for change and improvement. Social upliftment is our fulfillment. Service above self is the guide we follow. Serving today for a brighter tomorrow.
Thank you very much. For our guests, you may now take your seats. But for the Rotarians, please remain standing as we recite the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. So please repeat after me. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Thank you very much. Please be seated. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge our visiting Rotarians and guests. So as I call their names, please give them a warm round of applause. First of all, past District Governor Tony Kila. Past District Governor Peps Bengzon. By the way, both are members of the Rotary Club of Makati, and we acknowledge them as our dignitaries, our PDGs, and our, as they say, permanent dinner guests. Our guests for today, Mr. Juni Banyag, the guest of President Bing, who will give us a short talk later. Past President Regina Saga of the Rotary Club of Taipei Jade Spring, and the President of Yuanta Savings Bank, also a guest of President Bing. The guest of Rotarian Derek Tan, Shan Manuntag. We also have with us Karil Dotaro of the Rotary Club of Makati, and Catherine Jose from the Daily Tribune. From BPI, we have John C. Sikia, the head of institutional banking. We also have Eric Luchanco, the CFO, Alex Seminiano, the CTO of BPI, and Suzette Aison. From MAP, or the Management Association of the Philippines, we have with us Attorney Dick Du Baladad, Ms. Karen Batong Bakal, and Christine Bata. From Waves for Water Organization, we have Jenica Dizon Mountford, Megan Manzano Nepomuceno, and Noeline Banez. From the University of the Philippines Alumni Association, we have with us Mr. Robert Aranton, Mr. Fernando Sanchez Jr., and Ms. Yeye Marasigan. So welcome to the Rotary Club of Makati and the Rotary Club of Makati West, and we have a welcome song for all of you. Maestro.
Friends all from the living with you. Oh, friends all from the living with you. Pretty on to the faith that our friendship is real. We are glad you're here to so thank all the little cheer. With God's from all the fellows here. And you're here from the get
So welcome again. At this point, I'd like to ask our directors and committee chairman, if you have any announcement that you would like to make, please come forward. So there being none, I'd like to acknowledge the birthday celebrators and those with wedding anniversaries. So we'll start with past President Sani Tambunting, who is celebrating his birthday today. Rotarian Warren Yu on April 8. On April 11, past President Ruben Valerio. On April 12, Toto Cruz. April 13, June Lumagi. And April 15, we have Treasurer Tetu Garcia. For our Rotary Anns, we have Ann Pam Manzano on April 8 and Charter President Mache Ackerman on April 12. For our wedding anniversaries, we have Wilson and Jusie Lim, who's celebrating their anniversary today. We also have Roger and Rina Collantes, who will celebrate their anniversary on April 9. Then on April 10, past District Governor Tony and Angela Kila will be celebrating their anniversary. And on April 15, Director Porsche and Delia Peña. May I call on past President David Ackerman to lead and past President Louis Aseoche to please come forward and sing a birthday song for all our celebrators.
Right chemistry, that would be appropriate.
Especially for my wife. Yes. It is your birthday and wedding day. Let's celebrate this important day. We greet you deep in our happy birthday. Louie, come on. And happy birthday. Yeah. Happy birthday to all celebrators. Thank you.
Thank you very much, PP Louie and PP David. And now, we will witness a significant moment for the signing of a memorandum of agreement between the Rotary Club of Makati and Waves for Water organization. This agreement signifies our joint commitment to providing access to clean and safe water to communities in need. So I would like to invite President Bing Matoto and Ms. Jenica Beatriz Dizon, the Country Director of Waves for Water, to please come forward for the signing. I would also like to request our witnesses to join us at the table. Ms. Megan Manzano Nepomuceno, Director for Communication. Ms. Melissa Akyatan, our Admin Officer, and Attorney Dick Du Baladad, the overall Chairman of the Campaign Against Malnutrition and Child Stunting of the Management Association of the Philippines. For everyone's information, this agreement includes a commitment from the Rotary Club of Makati to support with 1 million pesos, providing access to clean and safe water to communities through the MVP filter. Waves for Water will be the implementing arm responsible for needs assessment, evaluation, and monitoring of the project. This initiative has been endorsed by the Management Association of the Philippines as part of their campaign against malnutrition. To help us better understand the impact of this project, we will now have a short demonstration on how this technology can provide safe drinking water to those in need. So as they give the demonstration of our MVP filters, I'd also like to ask Attorney Dick Du Baladad to give a short message.
This is impromptu. Um, it pays to have patience. If you remember around what month last year, when we were driving this campaign against malnutrition and child stunting, I also talked before this club. At ang tagal kong niligawan si Bing Matoto. And it came to a point that it was already being asking me where the project is. But as you know, this campaign against malnutrition and child stunting is a project that is not meant for 1 year. It is based on a projection 5 years to really create an impact, no, and reduce the rate of malnutrition and child stunting. But at this point, you can already see why we are so passionate about this, because if you look at the assessments of our children 10 years old, we are last. We are at the bottom when they evaluated our students in science, in math, in reading comprehension. And when they had an evaluation of the 15-year-olds, we are number 6 to the bottom in math, in science, and in reading comprehension. So now, we know that if we complain about our education system, it is not just the system that is at fault. It is mainly because the quality of our children has really gone down terribly. And that is the reason why they are now calling us the bobos of the Asian region, the ASEAN region. We are the dullest based on those evaluation. We are the dullest in the ASEAN region, which if you look back before, we are up there. And they're saying that when a Filipino talks before, everybody listens. We have lost that. And therefore, we want to go back to that situation. And I am happy and I am grateful for this club for embracing this project. So thank you very much. Mamaya, lahat tayo iinom ng water. And by the way, a short note, bakit tayo napunta sa tubig? Bakit hindi sa feeding? Because every time we talk about stunting, feeding program, it's not the feeding program. It is before the feeding program. It starts from the time of alagaan natin yung mga babae natin who are in their reproductive years, no? That they should be nourished well. And bakit tayo napunta sa water? Because we told Secretary Rex Gatchalian, we don't want to move unless you do a survey and tell us what is it really that you need. So they did a survey of all throughout the Philippines, and what came out as the number one need in those barangays with the highest stunting is lack of potable water. That is why napunta tayo sa water, and then natisod natin si Waves for Water. And I understand even the President Marcos, has been saying, you know, there is this provider of water that filters nung napakaduming tubig. And later on, Bing and I will drink that water. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Dick, for those inspiring words. Ladies, can we proceed with the demo?
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jenica. I'm Country Director of Waves for Water Philippines. We're a global access to clean water nonprofit. So the office of the organization is based in the US, and we've been in the country for 10 years now. So presence has started during Typhoon Haiyan, when our global office responded to Odette. And the backbone of our projects and programs that we do are these point-of-use filtration systems. So as Attorney Dick mentioned, we want to address malnutrition and health. And foundational to that is actually achieving SDG 6, access to clean water and sanitation. You have all your other sustainable development goals, but foundational to this is something that we actually need, is essential for our survival, which is water. You can't properly absorb nutrients without adequate and safe water. Kids can have access to education if they're having to spend so many times at home sick, if they're walking long distances for water. Women and children are disproportionately affected by the clean water crisis because it's them who bear the brunt of fetching water and being responsible for water management in their households. So because of this, a lot of the times, areas that have water supply, they do have water, but they're dependent on unsafe sources. These are surface water sources like your rivers, your streams, or your unprotected wells, your hand pumps, your pozo. And so these are the communities that we work with, that we serve through these systems. Because water infrastructure, it's ideal, but it's capital intensive. It takes long to do. It takes long to build. Sometimes there's no capital available, and oftentimes the communities we work with also don't have enough money to pay the monthly bills for servicing and maintenance of these facilities. So in the meantime, people are getting sick, adults aren't able to work, and kids aren't able to go to school. They're not healthy, and so access to clean water opens so many more opportunities for them because they have something that sometimes most of us might easily take for granted. We have these on our tables, we have flushing toilets, and so we want to make access to clean water a reality for all Filipinos, and we're so thankful to MAP and now Rotary Makati for supporting the cause. So we'll quickly demonstrate what we use. These are gravity-fed filtration systems, so that means we use a hollow fiber membrane. You don't need battery, you don't need electricity because off-grid areas don't have these infrastructure available either. The filters have multiple applications, but this is what's typically used and shared by households. And literally, you just use whatever water source is available. So this is very turbid water. I'm not sure if some of you have noticed, but we maybe it's even dirtier by mixing garden soil in here, just to visually represent the kind of water that, some communities unfortunately have no choice but to drink by either just letting the sediment soil and then taking water from the surface and then boiling if they have time. But with the filters, we guarantee that your protozoa, your cysts, all your microorganisms, even microplastics that cause a host of diseases that are easily preventable, but unfortunately kids die from, won't pass through the filter. So you just point downwards, you twist the cap, and you can see it comes from very turbid water and we don't know what else is in there. And then you just might have to stand. But there. So out comes not just clear water, so hindi lang siya malinis, hindi lang siya malinaw, pero malinis din siya. So it's clean, it's potable. And you can compare that. So the flow rate will just will change, can increase depending on how filled up the bucket is and how large the container. But here you can easily see the difference. And that's drinkable, that's potable water. I've been drinking water. We have presence in 82 provinces. I'm still very much here, healthy. And we'd like to encourage our partners now, if they're brave enough, to drink the water with us, because this will symbolically also strengthen our relationship.
Gotta get ducks, right? It's a joint meeting. Give him a glass. I didn't sign the MOA.
Cheers. Cheers to clean water. Yeah, maybe to raise the glass to clean water. And we hope it's 1 in 10 Filipinos who don't have access to clean water, and 9 out of 10 are here and are able to help. To clean water.
To clean water.
So no smell, no taste of soil. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Later, I'll finish. Thank you very much for that demonstration. I think everyone now is thrilled to find out that the water we're drinking is from the MVP filter. Now, from one partnership to another, we move to the signing of a memorandum of agreement between the Rotary Club of Makati and the University of the Philippines Alumni Association. I would like to call again, I would like to invite again President Bing Matoto to represent our club, and Mr. Robert Lester Aranton of the UPAA President and Alumni Regent to join us at the signing table. I would also like to request our witnesses, Fernando Sanchez Jr., UPAA 3rd VP, Ms. Yeye Marasigan, UPAA PRO, and Director Rodrigo Segura of the Rotary Club of Makati to join us at the table, please. I think I called him. Yeah. So that to in fact I also called him. The former Chancellor of UP Los Baños, Mr. Fernando Sanchez Jr. Okay. The memorandum of understanding between the Rotary Club of Makati and the University of the Philippines Alumni Association aims to strengthen their relationship and support each other's programs to maximize impact and reach in UP Diliman and UP Los Baños under the 7 areas of focus of Rotary. This partnership will significantly increase our reach and maximize our impact in these communities. Now, may I request UPAA President Robert Aranton for a short message. Round of applause, please.
Good afternoon ho sa lahat. On behalf of the UPAA Board of Directors, I would like to express my heartfelt appreciation to the Rotary Club of Makati, led by its president, President Bing Matoto, for this opportunity to collaborate and implement relevant projects for benefiting not only the UP alumni but also the UP community. The signing of this MOA represents another step forward in our ongoing efforts to fulfill our mandate of improving people's lives and society. As partners with one of the most active and service-oriented organizations with our vast networks and resources, I am confident that we can fulfill this mandate and build upon as part of our legacy. Thank you again, and I'm looking forward for the first project, Mr. President. I am here with my Vice President, former Chancellor of UPLB, Chancellor Dindo Sanchez, and Director Yeye Marasigan. So, Chancellor Dindo, can we have our first project roll out already? Okay, in UP Los Baños, Mr. President, we could start it by this month. Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Robert, Robert, Robert. Robert's not with the UP basketball team. No need, no need.
So at this point in time, we have a special guest personally invited by President Bing Matoto to give us a talk about unlocking investment recovery. He has over 30 years of expertise in economics, industry and company analysis, valuation, portfolio construction and execution, and client management. His latest stint from 2011 to 2022 was to lead the investment strategy and business development of AIA Philippines. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Eduardo Jose Juni Banyag.
Good afternoon, members and guests. I'm deeply honored and grateful for the opportunity to share my thoughts on investing with you today. Today, I direct my remarks towards investors who may be seeking assistance in recovering losses from the stock market. A myriad of factors contributes to these losses, including instances where market prices overshoot intrinsic values, businesses suffer diminishing returns, operational surpluses erode, and the supply of shares outstrips demand. I advocate a judicious evaluation of proven strategies. Strategy number one, identifying undervalued stocks. At the heart of successful investment endeavors lies the concept of intrinsic value. Consider this company, Inebra San Miguel, a notable exemplar of undervaluation. GSMI has exhibited a commendable annual investment return of 49.4% annual return over the past 5 years. And throughout the last decade, GSMI has consistently or unfailingly demonstrated positive revenue growth, often surpassing 19% in notable periods. Strategy number two, profits outperform costs. At the forefront of creating value lies return on invested capital, a pivotal metric encapsulating the returns shareholders garner from capital deployment, factoring associated risks, and the time horizon for recouping invested funds. Asian Terminal Inc. or ATI exemplifies a commendable track record of profitability that surpasses cost, underscored by an impressive ROIC of 19%. That's a performance eclipsing the mean of only 174 companies at the stock exchange with positive ROICs by a multiple of 2.7 times. Strategy number 3, surplus cash for growth. Positive cash flow stands as the lifeblood of corporations, furnishing them with the means to sustain operations, fuel expansion, and reward stakeholders. So a compelling exemplification of this principle is manifest in ICTSI, with operating income doubling the pre-pandemic figure. ICTSI claims the largest free cash position at the PSE, excluding banking entities. Over the past 5 years, the stock has delivered an annual investment return of 27.1%. Strategy 4, demand for stock exceeds shares. In the realm of stock investing, grasping the delicate equilibrium between the demand for and the supply of shares stands as a fundamental tenet. This equilibrium fundamentally shapes stock prices, exerting a direct sway on investment outcomes. Over the past decade, a discernible trend appears to have emerged wherein the supply of shares in many companies has outpaced demand. This disjunction in the supply-demand equation has significantly influenced the pricing dynamics of these stocks, leading to investor losses. Conversely, certain entities stand out due to heightened demand for shares relative to their supply. So if the trend in the price of the shares signals waning investor confidence, divesting from the stock and diversifying the portfolio with entities experiencing a demand for stocks that exceeds available shares may prove astute. A final word, beyond strategies, there's a call to confront challenges with prudence. While downturns test investors, they also present opportunities for the knowledgeable and well-prepared. Before we part, I want to humbly share a bit of myself. I am an autonomous portfolio manager. There goes my time. With a passion for assisting both institutional and retail investors in realizing profitable returns, irrespective of market fluctuations or the outlook of the overall market. As of the last check, investors who have welcomed my help were turning a profit of 21% a year since inception. I'm humbled by this number, recognizing that I should work harder to help investors invest better. Thank you for listening.
So once again, thank you, Mr. Juni Banag. Can we give him another round of applause, please? For that very informative talk. At this point, for his president's time, I'd like to turn over the floor to President Bing Matoto.
Thank you very much, Neil, and good afternoon, folks, and welcome again to Makati West for joining us. I felt that perhaps TG would be more comfortable with some of his colleagues around, and also I guess that would give an opportunity to prevent us from trying to poach him. Anyway, welcome back, Rotarians, and a blessed Easter to all. I certainly hope each of you had a rejuvenating and reflective break with your families. and that you return to us re-energized and ready to continue our mission of service. As we enter the final 3 months of this Rotary year, hell is going fairly quickly. That's why we have this flurry of one of those last 2-minute type of projects. Let us push ourselves to finish strong and make a lasting impact in our community. I extend a warm welcome again to our friends from Makati West, as well as our new partners from the Management Association of the Philippines, the Waves for Water, and the UP Alumni Association. It's not true that I invited the UP here because BPI has decided to support UP. Uh, um, your presence here today is a testament to the collaborative spirit of Rotary, and we look forward to working together to serve those in need. I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to all those who participated in the annual Visita Iglesia on March 22 in Rizal, as well as the recollection on March 14. Special thanks to Anne Terry Tambunting for organizing these two events. As we look ahead, I invite each of you to consider participating in our upcoming projects. On April 17 to 18, we will be launching our functional literacy program in Kawayan, Isabela, in cooperation with Teach for the Philippines. This program aims to provide essential literacy skills to underserved communities, empowering them to create a better future for themselves. Additionally, on May 4, we will be conducting a medical mission at Rotary Homes Parañaque in partnership with RC Makati Premier District, providing much needed healthcare services to those in need. And we're looking forward to a project in UP Los Baños, Robert. So let's see if we could work on one. Furthermore, from May 25 to 30, we will have the opportunity to attend the RI convention in Singapore, where we can learn from and collaborate with fellow Rotarians from around the world. On June 1, we will be deploying reef buds in Narvacan, Ilocos Sur to support marine conservation efforts in the area. Finally, on June 8, we'll be turning over our fourth Rotary dorm in Puerto Princesa, Palawan, providing safe and comfortable accommodation for those in need. On another note, I would like to inform you that our Secretariat will be having their summer outing in Sorsogon starting tomorrow until Friday. They certainly deserve all the break that they need coming from such a hectic year. If you have any urgent concerns or requirements during this time, please feel free not to contact our Chief of Staff, Rondo Taro. Lastly, I would like to take a moment to remember our beloved past president, Felix Amparo, who passed away last week. He embodied the Rotary spirit, and his contributions to our club and community will never be forgotten. I would like to thank those who joined us in the memorial mass to honor his memory. May he rest in peace. And if I may now request, let us now observe a moment of silence to honor the memory of past President Felix and to reflect on the impact he had on our club and our lives. Thank you. And let us continue to strive for excellence in service to others.
Come Saturday morning, I'm going away with my friend. We'll Saturday spend till the end of the day. Just I and my friend. We'll travel for miles in our Saturday smiles. And then we'll move on. But we'll remember long after Saturday's gone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Bing. At this point, for his president's time, I'd like to call President Dax Carlos of the Rotary Club of Makati West.
Good afternoon, everyone, and belated Happy Easter again to everyone. President Bing, thank you so much for inviting us to join your meeting today. I must commend your choice of guest speaker. When I asked people to join from Makati West today, the guest speaker just sent a short but sweet text that it will be worth your while. So we're anticipating with excitement what he has to say for all of us today. On May 10 and May 11, can I ask all of you to please support the district conference of Governor Jay? We have a really great lineup of guest speakers led by the First Lady, MVP, Jasa, to name a few, and the chairman, IPP Hill Chua, who's with us today, really left no stone unturned in trying to deliver what will surely be one of the best, if not the best, district conferences ever. So please support us, and we look forward to seeing all of you there. Lastly, I'd like to thank my brothers from Makati West for joining us here today. I know it's hard getting back to the swing of things with work, and really appreciate you supporting myself and of course PPTG here today. And last but not the least, you all know that PP Lou Del Rosario passed away a couple of weeks ago. You know, Makati has been a very staunch supporter of the Gift of Life project, which was spearheaded by PP Lou, and I guess down from heaven, he's with us here today, and please allow me to be his emissary in thanking all of you for all the support. Please continue to support the Gift of Life project, and I'm sure that PP Lou and all the other great Makati West Rotarians like PDG, Tony Rufino, Jun Tamunting, Oscar de Venecia, Ed Alvarez will all be smiling from above. Thank you, everyone. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you very much, President Dax. And at this point, to formally introduce our guest speaker for today, I'd like to call on our future president, Philip Sullivan.
Hey guys, that's one way to put me on the spot, right? Anyway, hello, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, I have the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker today. So well, I've known him for a long time, and I said, what do I, what should I say about TG? That's his nickname, anyway. And so they sent me this resume, right? This CV. You know that this piece of paper contains the names of 40 institutions he's connected with. 40, right? So obviously, there's no way I can cover all of them. So I'd like to just be selective, just to give you a flavor for the extent of his, his experience and his capabilities. Okay, but maybe let me start with his education, right? So he graduated from Stanford University with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematical Sciences, and then he went on to complete an MBA from the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania. Okay. He actually joined the Ayala Corporation in 1998, and since then he has been connected with. Actually, prior to joining Ayala, he was actually connected with JP Morgan in Singapore and in the US. So upon joining Ayala in 1998, he then proceeded to become involved with almost all the businesses of Ayala. Everything from really Family Savings Bank, BPI Capital, Ayala Corporation. He was also the he was also the CFO and the CRO and Chief Sustainability Officer of Ayala Corporation. Okay. So more recently, we all know him as the current CEO of BPI, no? And he was made CEO in April of 2021, so roughly 2 years ago. But he's also involved with BPI Wealth, which is the trust corporation BPI, and then BPI AIA Life Insurance Corporation, BPI Century Tokyo Lease and Finance Corporation, and the president of BPI Foundation Inc. He's also a member of the Bank Association of the Philippines, actually the president of the BAP, chairman of the Philippine Payments Management Inc., and a trustee of AIM. But I think what I'd like to highlight in his past years, which is the recognition that he's recently received. No, he was bestowed with the prestigious 2023 Communicator of the Year award under the executive leadership category of the International Association of Business Communications. I don't know if this was because of your blogs on YouTube. Was that remember you do this podcast or something like that, right? Yeah. Anyway, so I've seen some of those. It's very very interesting. But he also received the gold award as the best in the best CEO category for the Philippines in Asia in the Asia's best managed companies of 2023. This is from the Finance Asia. So I think that says it all. No, it talks about his experience, his capabilities, basically. And I'd like to now, for all of you to listen to him as he talks about AI in banking. It's a very important area of banking, and I'm sure he'll be able to shed light on the future, so to speak, of banking with AI. Thank you very much, and I'd like to turn the floor over to Jose Teodoro K. Limcauco, TG for short, the President and CEO of BPI.
Thank you very much, future President Philip. You know, in Makati West, when we call you future president, you have no choice. So, Bing, I've done my job. Thank you for inviting me, President Bing, and of course, President Dax, for your strong support. Actually, I was kind of worried when no one was signing up for my club to come, and I was prepared to pay for all the 10 seats. But thank you to my brothers from Makati West for joining us today. And thank you to all the members of Makati for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure always to come back to Makati. Makati has a special place in my Rotary heart. My father was a member here from 1969 to 1974 when he left to go to join his father's club in Rotary Club Calamba when my grandfather passed away. And my father got his Rotary Foundation from Makati and eventually became governor. And I don't know when I was a kid, 1979, 77, something like that. Believe it or not, my brother is a member of your club. And I'm sure you don't know my brother because he never shows up. As I told President Bing that's his job to get my brother to be active. It's always good to see some friends here. Of course, Governor Peps is here, BPI stalwart. President Bing and I worked together at BPI. Actually, I learned a lot from President Bing, all the bad stuff I learned from him. And I'm surprised how Makati is a club that keeps on singing because Bing never sang when we were at BPI. It's a pleasure to be here, and allow me first to introduce a little about what we're trying to do at BPI. So that allows me to frame my talk. Bing asked me to talk a little about how AI will affect the future of banking. I think it's a very interesting topic. But the best way to frame it is what we're trying to do at BPI in line with this, and what the industry, the banking industry together with the BSP is doing with technology and artificial intelligence to try to make the banking experience better. As Philip said, I am the president of the BAP. I'm also chairman of an organization called PPMI, Philippine Payments Management Inc., which is the overall body which governs payments in the country. We are trying to digitize payments, trying to get people to use their phones to pay rather than use their cash to pay. So all the QR codes you see, all InstaPay, PesoNet, all those terms that you hear, that is the work of PPMI and trying to get the industry to come together. Obviously, there are different interests in the industry, different participants who want to push it one way or the other. And the role of PPMI is to work with the industry and the BSP to try to make it as successful as possible. Obviously, the role of the BSP and the banking industry, and we'll all say this, is that the goal is we want better financial inclusion in this country. This country is severely backwards because of a lack of economic opportunities to many, many people. And there is this belief, including myself, that I have, that one of the reasons that we cannot develop certain communities outside Metro Manila is the fact that we are an archipelago, and it is very difficult to get cash to certain communities. If you have ever been in a community, clearly they need water, but a community cannot prosper when there is no cash because commerce does not take place. And cash is a physical item. And when you go to places that are very far from urban areas, what happens is the cash there gets sucked up. The physical cash gets sucked up as it goes to a sari-sari store, and a sari-sari store then goes to a major grocery in the city, and the cash eventually moves back to Manila. And you have no cash in the provincial areas. And if you have no cash, you cannot have commerce. You cannot have a farmer grow his crop and sell it if there is no cash to trade for it. And that is the problem that the BSP is trying to solve. We cannot have enough cash centers. Cash centers are expensive to operate. There is security risk. And we are just a country of too many islands to move cash everywhere. And hence the idea of using digital cash. It is a long project. It's not something that will happen overnight, but we need to get people used to the idea that cash can be transferred digitally and not physically. And think about it. If you are in a community where you have digital cash and it is accepted openly, then commerce can take place because you don't need coins, nor do you need paper bills. All you need is a cell phone signal. That's another problem. But right. And so financial inclusion and digitized payments go hand in hand. And that's why you hear the BSP governor talk a lot about trying to get 70, 80% of all transactions to be digital, because that's the only way we can get commerce going throughout the country. At BPI, what we're trying to do is really push along this ambitious goal of including everyone into our ecosystem. We make no bones about it. We have an ambitious goal of banking or putting 50 million people into our system. In 2021, we had 8 million people in our system, with 8 million customers. Our goal is to be 50 million by 2026. Today, we are 12. So we have a long way to go. But obviously, you can only do this if you use technology. Technology is the only way you can get customers on board and serve them at a very low cost. I have a couple of my colleagues here. And as I was telling Bing, my colleagues are here because they know the answers. I'm just a mouthpiece. So allow me to introduce some of my colleagues. We have Eric Luchanko over there, who is the CFO. So Eric decides how much dividend we pay, right? We have John Sisikia, who runs our corporate banking. He handles all our top clients. We have Suzette Aison from our private wealth business. And we have Alex Seminiano, who's our chief technology officer, who will answer all the questions about artificial intelligence. So our ambitious goal of 50 million customers is hinged on really getting technology right? And you get technology right because it's easy to put people on and it's very cost efficient. But you cannot get everyone banked if you just rely on technology. Everyone in this room, we're all intelligent. And yet we have a difficult time with technology. So think about the people who are less intelligent, less educated than us. It's so easy to say, oh, you can open an account online. Believe it or not, it is not that easy. We don't have strong cell phone signals. People don't have phones that are iPhones, and therefore the phone capability is not as good. Right? And so BPI, we're embarking on this strategy called agency banking. We are working with partners, particularly retail stores, where we will put our technology into those stores and our customers hopefully walk into the stores and get onboarded. So we are working with the Robinsons Group. We're working with the Ayala Group. You can open a BPI account today in Uncle John's. You can open at TGP, at South Star Drug, at Ayala Malls. We're also working with sea oil. So we have 5,000 doors as of today. We are also working on the concept of making sure that the branches are places where you can learn, where people can go and ask questions rather than do transactions. My surprise today is I'm not supposed to say this yet, but last night we did launch the ability for your mobile app, the BPI mobile app, to take deposits by check deposits on the mobile app. So you take a picture and you just send it in, and the check will clear. So that was launched last night. So officially, it's not launched yet because I'm supposed to test it still. But it was, if you have the app, you should be able to see it. So allow me now to talk a little about the future of banking with technology. And as I said, technology really will accomplish two things from the banking experience. One, it will allow us to drive down our operating costs. And two, it will allow us to deliver a better level of service for our customers. Bing has asked me to focus on artificial intelligence. So let's be very clear first what artificial intelligence is. I warned my colleagues that, every time you come to a Rotary Club meeting, because it's true about Makati West, everyone in the meeting believes they know more than we do, right? They will ask a lot of questions, they will challenge. So let's be very clear first about artificial intelligence. I look at artificial intelligence in 3 stages. The first stage is large data analytics, meaning the technology today allows us to harness so much data, to keep so much data about our customers, about their activities, about the environment, that it allows us to make better decisions using tools. For example, at the bank, we can now tell where we would open a branch that serves MSMEs. We have a microfinance banking subsidiary whose focus is on small and self-employed micro entrepreneurs. We went to our data team and said, find us all the locations where these banks would be profitable. And so what you do is you take data from economic data, you take profitability of stores, and what we found out, the best place to open these microfinance branches are not first-rate cities for obvious reasons, not second-rate municipalities, but third class 3 municipalities where, this is very important, where the local government is lousy. Because when the local government is lousy, the entrepreneurs take over. They don't have the support from the local government, so they do their own business, and that's where they need banking. So we are looking for lousy local governments to open our microfinance branches. But that's the kind of technology used. We have the ability today on our app, to warn you that you are overspending. Because what we do is we take a look at all the data that you've been doing, and we run that through our filters, and we're able to predict or warn you about your future behavior. So that's large data analytics. The second level of artificial intelligence is really what I call machine learning. What machine learning does is, again, it takes large amounts of data, but we train the machines to then predict what happens next, given similar data. And this is actually very useful today when we're doing screening for suspicious transactions, when we do screening for anti-money laundering, screenings for suspicious transactions. The BSP requires us, the law requires us to report transactions that we deem suspicious, either originating from possible crime, from possible tax evasion, from possible gambling proceeds. And so we need to build behavior into our systems. They need to learn behavior so that when this transaction happens, we actually flag it and just report it in. And that's one of the things. The other biggest use for machine learning is the ability to identify people and whether the person that is presenting themselves is a real person. So for those of you who have tried opening accounts online, you are asked to take a picture, right? And oftentimes that picture we will run through some machine learning algorithm to make sure that it is truly a person. And sometimes we will ask you to move. But that's all part of machine learning because that's one of the biggest uses of machine learning. And then finally, obviously for fraud, We all hear about the stories of fraud today about people getting scammed. And one of the key uses for machine learning is to understand your previous behavior, match that with behavior of a typical person, and try to understand that the next transaction and try to decide whether the next transaction that's being done on your account is you or not you. And that causes a problem because as you tighten the rules, there will be many people who are actually doing valid transactions whom we will say that's not you. Right? So it's always a trade-off at the bank, trying to be safe, erring on safety, or erring on convenience for the customer. And then finally, the last role of artificial intelligence, I would say, is what we all know today as generative AI. And this is what we all know as Chat GPT. This is where the machine actually can learn and engage with you in free form language. And this is actually very big news because this will transform the way a bank is able to deliver service. Think, for example, what you see today in the very primitive chatbots when you go to a helpline. So today, most chatbots are very primitive. They're algorithmically driven, where if you type a question, it just goes through a sort of menu or it goes through a filter, looking at your words and then answering you properly. And if they cannot find an answer, then it just says, "Please wait, someone will come on the line." With generative AI, what it does is it ingests thousands, millions of documents and learns from these documents. If you think about the way when you work on your phone today and you type a message and it predicts the next letters to make a word, that's generative AI in its simplest sense. What generative AI does is it predicts the next couple of words to make a complete sentence and the next couple of sentences to make a complete paragraph. But that's how you learn. And so today, you can use generative AI in many ways. And it's actually quite dangerous because you teach the machine and the machine reflects the bias of the teaching. Right? And therefore, using AI in banking will be very slow. For example, at BPI, our path to using generative AI or Chat GPT is first using it internally. We will use it internally where only employees gain access to it so that we can use it before communicating with the client. Our biggest use cases today is, first of all, there is a addendum to Microsoft Office called Copilot, which sits beside you as part of your email, as part of Word, and you can click on a tab beside. Instead of asking for help, you can ask it to do stuff. So I have actually done stuff such as when I get a letter from someone who, and this is a true case, someone actually sent me an email and asked me if I could, as president of the BAP, recommend her to the monetary board. Right? And she went on and outlined all her qualifications and asked very clearly, would the BAP recommend me to the monetary board? I don't know this lady. I just know her qualifications. And therefore, I had no idea how to reply. So I asked Copilot, please read the letter and reply for me in the negative. Right? And it drafted a complete reply. Dear Mrs. blah, 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 thank you for your letter. I agree that your qualifications, such as blah, 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 make you extremely deserving of a monetary board member. However, I regret to say, perfect answer. And it is amazing what generative AI can do. We've used it to do creatives. I use it to create haikus. Like I'll say, please write a haiku about BPI. Right? And it will write a haiku. And actually, Bing, I did ask it to write a haiku about Makati West and banking. And I can share it with you later. But it's quite interesting. And actually, if you install it in your in Microsoft Office, you actually pay how much? $30 a month. So kind of pricey, but here's a tip. If you go to the App Store, search for Microsoft Copilot, there's a free app that does exactly it. So I have that on my phone. The second item we use it for is actually we will be launching internally again our own little chat GPT for BPI. And when you do chat GPT, if you go to chat GPT today, what that does is it's gone through the whole internet and learned everything on the internet. So you can ask it questions, but it will only answer you things relative to what it finds on the internet. I did ask one time, I was sitting with Chief Justice Art Panganiban, and I was showing him chat GPT. And I said, Chief Justice, ask them about Chief Justice Panganiban. And it went on and it said, Chief Justice Panganiban is a retired jurist, blah, 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 and very precise. I said, now ask him who your wife is. And he said, who is his wife? And it came up with a completely wrong name and a wrong woman. So it is a little biased. So at the bank, what we've done, and so you should go to Copilot. You should go to Copilot and ask about yourself, because you'll be amazed what you find out about yourself. At the bank, we do have a project going that we'll be launching. What we've done is we've taken the engine of OpenAI, of ChatGPT, and we're ingesting all our policies and products and procedures. We're ingesting that and asking OpenAI to learn this and only use that as its knowledge base. If you think about it, we're basically training a kid to read all our documents, understand our documents, so that we can ask this kid. Right? And so the purpose of this is we will have consistency of service in every branch. How many of you have gone to a BPI branch and asked a question only to go to another branch, ask the same question, and get a different answer? Happens all the time. It happens all the time because when you have an organization of 20,000 people, some of whom have been with the bank for 30 years, and some of them who have just come and joined the bank, the level of knowledge is very different. With this tool we call BAI or BAI, all we have to do is ask this tool, and it will give you the answers. You can ask it, what are the requirements for opening a savings account? What is the minimum balance? What are the requirements for an OPC? Actually, when they showed this to me, I said, what's an OPC? Right? And the tool actually answered, to open a one-person corporation, you need the following. You can ask it to answer you in a format that you want. So we can ask it, please explain to a 7-year-old child how to open an account. And it will say there, you will need an ID like your school ID, right? You will need to have your parents sign. So you can actually give it the format at which you want it to answer. So the technology that will go forward to making customer service better is within our hands. And the next plan for us for this is to open this tool to every member of the bank, so that every person in the bank can actually be a reference person to all clients, not just the frontliners. And again, that's very safe because the tool is only available to us, and we take a look at it and use it as the filter, because we can take a look, and if the answer is wrong, we know it's wrong, and then answer properly. Finally, we have the ability in our call center. So when you do call our call center, if you've ever sat with a call center agent, these people are masters on the keyboard. Because when a person calls, they have not only to log the call, but they have to start opening sources of information to answer the question that's been asked. If you have a credit card question, they have to open a screen that answers a credit card. If they have a question about rewards, they have to go to our database about rewards. The ability with OpenAI is they can just ask the question. They can basically type in the question that the caller gives them, and ChatGPT will give them the exact same answer. So the level of service should be so much better. The next step then is, once you get comfortable with generative AI, is to let it loose to the clients. And I foresee the day, one day, where clients will be able to engage directly with a tool to help them talk about their portfolios, to help them talk about investment alternatives, to talk about what they should be doing about their ambitions in life, particularly when it comes to, let's say, wealth planning or insurance. Uh, you will also see the day where you will not necessarily have to type in the commands into your phone anymore. You will just have to boot up the app, turn on the microphone, and tell your app what you want to do. You can say transfer 10,000 pesos from my account to my wife's account, or transfer it the other way, right? You will be able to do voice-driven commands in the future without having to type in. Finally, the last caveat I have about AI is just as AI has the ability to make life easier for us, it makes life easier for the people who want to scam us, right? So there's a lot of fraud that's already happening because of AI, where people are beginning to create fake personas that are able to mimic your voice, that are able to mimic the way you talk. There is a case of a large corporation in Hong Kong where an officer was scammed and transferred out $25 million out of the corporate account because he got fooled that he was in a Zoom meeting with the CEO and the CFO. And the CEO and the CFO in this Zoom meeting were just AI-driven bots with the face and the voice and a fake meeting. So I guess this is a never-ending battle between ourselves and the people who want to abuse AI. And at the banking level, we try to protect our clients as much as possible. But you've all heard the unfortunate stories of people who have lost money. And I tell all my friends, there's just one simple rule, gentlemen and ladies, is that never share your password. Please never share your password, no matter who asks you. Never share the one-time PIN, never share the one-time password, no matter who asks you. If your wife asks you, never share. Right? Never share. Not even your wife. Because you never know. It might be AI, right? And and this is why you need to give your wife her own account. Right? So I guess my parting thought here, and if this talk is anything similar to what we had in Makati West, there'll be a lot of questions. AI will definitely be a tool of the future, and it will be used in many, many fields like transportation. You have driverless cars. It will be used in medicine, diagnosis, treatment. AI is a better diagnostician than any doctor you will have because AI will have all the experience that thousands of doctors have. It will be used in creative arts, music, poetry will use AI. And you wonder whether that is still humanity. Right? So obviously it will be used in finance and banking. It will help us serve you better. It will help us make better decisions. It will help you make better decisions about your future. It certainly does have its limitations. AI will never have all the answers because it only knows what it's been taught, right? And we always have to be very suspicious and be very aware that the benefits we derive from AI are the same benefits that malicious players will use against us. So never share your OTP. If you remember, never share your OTP, you're safe, believe me. So with that, President Bing, I'll open it up to questions. President Dax, thank you very much.
Please, you can take it from here. if you want.
So once again, let's give a round of applause to our guest speaker, Mr. T.G. Lim Cauco, for that very informative and interesting talk. You know, as you were talking, President Dax and I were already downloading the Microsoft Copilot, and it works. So for everyone's favorite part, we have designated microphones around the room. So for your questions, fire away. So our first question, past District Governor Peps Bengzon.
Hi, Tej.
Hey.
TGP Dax, TGP Bing, PTG. PTG. No? Coincidence, no? A few questions here, TG. Well, I hope your golf game is much better now. And your son-in-law is giving you the right clubs. Back in 81, 82, BPI was the first to introduce ATM, and it increased or grew fear, created fear among the tellers, thinking that their jobs would be replaced. How's that going to address this issue? Are you going to have early retirements that AI is going to replace some of your officers? You also mentioned that, educational people like us are technical challenged. So what about those less educated? I think the less educated ones are even more um, smarter, okay, in technology than some of us over here. So do we need college graduates to work in BPNO, given that their expertise is something that the financial industry needs? Um, that's it for now.
Thanks, Governor Peps. I think the question of whether AI replaces jobs is very valid, is very true. But there are certain jobs that will always remain. And in the banking field, our strategy is basically as AI comes in, we won't hire, right? We won't need to hire more. But I think when you talk about finances, there is a level of comfort that people get in being able to talk to people and get personalized advice or human to human advice about financial needs. Um, there's always been this sense that maybe branches will disappear, right? And that everyone will do their transactions on the phone. I think you need to look at transactions as two ways. There are those that are very transactional in nature, meaning transfer payments. That one we want people to go on the phone. But when people begin to talk about their investments or making their first loan, right? Or borrowing, I think that one always needs, or people will always look for the human touch. There are people who are completely comfortable in making investments completely online. And maybe there are people like you and me who've come from a finance background that were okay to read about it, right? To go to Google and understand all these investment products. But this is the thing I always ask people. Perhaps you and I are finance people, President Bing is a finance person. So we're comfortable, we can go Google and we can invest in anything in the world because we can read and understand. But you can do the same for healthcare. You can go to Google and Google any disease and how to cure yourself. Will you do it yourself?
Well, I drank a glass of water. We'll see.
Right? So there's a level of comfort. So for many people, the finance level of comfort is not there. They can read about it, but they'll want someone to talk to.
Which brings me to that question. Now I remember a conversation on the range one day when you move your employees to different departments, you lose your relationship manager because you used to have that relationship manager in the branches. You said that you might consider, right, sticking to the same relationship manager even if that person moves branches. What's your inclination now?
It's a tough call. I mean, there are two ways. Obviously, in finance, you build up a long relationship of trust with an individual. But the reality is you should not build up a relationship of trust with a specific individual. You should build up a relationship of trust with the institution. Right? And I know that's hard. I know that's hard. People tell me, I love my RM, please never change her. But you need to move RMs around, right? Because you need to make sure that there is no abuse. There's no abuse, right? And it's nice to have your RM forever, right? But safety and prudence dictates that you always have this change. It's the same reason we're all asked to step away at banking. We're all asked to step away for 5 days, right? We're all asked to disappear so that someone can go into your desk and check that you're not doing anything wrong. So it's the same reason we ask, we rotate RMs maybe after several years, 5 years. And but it's reality, we need to do it.
Okay, another question from Patrick.
Thank you, Mr. T. Calco, for that great talk.
this might be more of a question towards your CTO. But I've always been wondering with now you mentioned that there's an OCR that can read the checks, right? For it to clear. And with AI being placed into your system, will there be a possibility where the online banking app can actually allow us to buy dollars online? Because I noticed that we have to go to the bank, fill up a form, which is just a signature, basically ask a basic question. Are you going to use it for travel or whatever? I think AI can all do that. And
Yes,
based on the history,
true.
we'll be able it'll be able to know if we're doing it for the good for a good purpose or for a bad purpose. But what are your thoughts on that? Because I think that would be a big plus.
You can actually do that today already. Yeah. So, but let me just clarify it. So we have an app, which is the app you download and allows you to do your basic banking, right? We have functionalities that we call off app, right? That you can access on the app, but it's really not on the app. So you click and it goes off the app where you can buy the dollars. I can show you later, right? The reason we do that is if you put too many functions in the app, every time you make a change in the app, you have to test all those functions again, right? So what we want to do on the app is like the 80% of what people use. And not very many people buy dollars. But if you put more and more functions on the app, every time you make a little change, you change a color, you change a font, we have to test everything. So there's regression testing, that's what it's called, right? That makes it a lot easier. But we try to keep the app as functionally lean, where most people will just use it. But you can buy dollars online now. We don't guess what the function, why your purpose. We ask you to name the purpose, but it's a drop down and it's like travel, investments, others. And believe it or not, the BSP accepts others.
Okay, President Bing has a question.
Thanks, TG. I guess this perhaps also John C would have a part to play here in this question. It's related really to the lending standards. Obviously, the lending standards of the bank are fairly stringent, and rightly so. No. Now, on the other hand, I think our country is highly dependent, as we all know, to the MSME sector, where the majority of the entrepreneurs are unbanked and probably do not have financial statements, do not have any collaterals to offer, and would resort to the usual, whatever, 5, 6 type of sources of funding. No, of course, I realize that BPI is this Banco, which is I think one of the biggest micro lenders. I'd like to inquire as to what extent you think would AI be able to alleviate, for example, the need for the usual standards that we all expect a BPI to require in considering a loan? And what has been your experience so far in Banco in terms of, I guess, the non-performing? Has it been satisfactory, et cetera, et cetera?
That's a great question, Bing. I think first of all, let's talk about AI. We're about to look at a package now where it's AI driven, where you actually ingest the annual report. So we're not talking about the micro entrepreneurs, but any company that has audited financials, you ingest it and it will analyze it for you and show you the weak spots. So we're about to test that and see if that actually works. The issue of lending to the SME sector and even the micro SME sector is always something that's very challenging. And it's really driven by the fact that as an institution, BPI has a very conservative credit culture. And that's the way we want to operate the bank. I think many people ask us, why aren't you more aggressive in lending to the SME sector? Why don't you lend to, clean loans to this? And my answer there is very clear. I'm not lending our money. I'm lending your money, right? And when you tell people who want us to lend to these sectors more aggressively, when you remind them that it's not BPI's money that we're lending, it's their money we're lending, there's a step back. But I agree with you. There is so much more we can do on the microfinance, the SME sector, really driven by a couple of different things we're trying to do. We're trying to use alternative scoring models, right? We're trying to check whether just by looking at their bank activity, we can tell whether you're a potentially good borrower just by looking at what you do with your bank account. And that's why we try to convince potential borrowers to first bank with us. Because once we have 3-6 months worth of your banking data, where we see the flows that come in and the flows that go out, we have a very good idea of the success of your business. But we can't get that if you don't bank with us. If you bank with another bank, they get the data. Right? So that's why we want people to bank with us. Secondly, there's a lot of infrastructure needs we have in this country. Foremost in my mind, and I've always said this, is that we need the national ID to be rolled out completely, present tax. We've talked about this many, many times. Once you have a national ID, we know where people are, we know who they are, right? And therefore we can track them. Then on top of a national ID, we have a national credit bureau. And then we can already tell people, if you don't pay your loan, you will be on the negative list and no bank will ever lend you. And think about the potential for this. If we have this, I have no problem doing student loans to college, to kids who want to go to college. Because once I know they graduate from university, they will get a decent job. So I'll lend them in freshman year. As long as they graduate, I know they'll pay me back. Because if they don't pay the tuition loan back, they won't be able to borrow their car. But we need the national ID and we need the National Credit Bureau. Two things which we are working on. And the BSP is serious about this. So I'm hopeful that in the next couple of years, we'll have a breakthrough there.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Right now, I think obviously GCash is part of the Ayala Group, and GCash dominates the payment flows. And I would think that through AI and the kind of experience that GCash itself has, that would be accessible to the likes of BPI. That would then enable the bank. I'm just trying to surmise, no, be able to be a bit more aggressive on the lending side, which in fact organizations like GCash do provide clean lending after a certain number of months, no, and it progresses. And the reason I'm somewhat intent on it, as you know, TJ, I'm on the board of Phil Guarantee, and I'm not too sure if a lot of the banks are fully aware of Phil Guarantees. Phil Guaranteed problems in the past. But right now, there's this push for Phil Guarantee that, of course, as you know, equates to sovereign risk, no? And they can cover as much as about 80% of working capital. And I wonder if, I guess the different pieces of the puzzle that are now actually in the community could be sort of tied up to be able to make it, I guess, more efficient and let the finance flow.
We have an issue called data privacy, right? That's a problem. Before it was very loose, and and data privacy, rightly so, doesn't allow us to take data from a related company without the permission of the client. And we'll always have arguments whether data privacy is really something that we need or don't need. But that's been a hindrance because you're right, GCash has so much data, but I can't get it. And GCash can't give it to me unless it's consented. So there's that problem. On Phil Guarantee, we use Phil Guarantee a lot, but I don't think as a financial institution, you would make a loan just because Phil Guarantee is there. First, you assess the credit, and then you overlay Phil Guarantee to reduce the cost of the credit. But we do use Phil Guarantee a lot, and it's so much better today.
Thank you. Next question from Tony Lopez.
ITG. My first question is to Director Neil. Did TG Limcauco purposely take out Ateneo de Manila in his CV? I just have to know. I really have to know. That's
No,
why-
sorry. My friend Philip here does it properly. You never mentioned the high school.
Ah, okay.
Tempted though. Well, let's be very clear. I know the UP people are here, right? We do support the BPI supports the UP men's
Hey.
basketball team. TG Limcauco supports the Ateneo Blue Eagles.
At least the record is straight and clear.
Well, my question is in relation to your effort to put more AI into your branch banking that you mentioned earlier. I was seated beside your CFO, Eric. All he talks about is controls and restriction. I should have been sitting beside Mr. Sikia here. Right? Anyway, he's such a wonderful person to talk to. Anyway, I do not bank with BPI. But my family, my siblings, we have family corporations. All our corporations bank with BPI. My siblings are with your private banking or wealth, as you call it. But I just have a relationship. So since I run most of it, I sometimes have to do banking at the branch in Rockwell. Okay. I notice the first line of contact is always very nice, your guards. Okay. Because they will tell you which queue box to go to. And so your second point of contact is that queuing system. Okay. But in that queuing system, you just put in basic info and you get your number. But from that queuing system, you can already find out if I'm using an on us check. If I'm depositing a BPI check to another BPI account, then it should make life so much easier because as soon as I enter the deposit account and the details of the bank, the check, it should already say, hey, this is BPI to BPI, this is within the family. So it should already sum up or lift up some information. So when I actually go to the teller's more or less sees because what the amounts that I use are kind of big. So they always stand up and they go somewhere. I don't know where, to the boss or somewhere. It takes about 10, 15 minutes. And I want to say, I have a BPI account, but I'm a signatory to all of it. They should be able to see. I don't know if that's any help or if that is too much of a risk to have that. As soon as you come in and you put in that you're a BPI, you're holding a BPI account, that data should already be made available to the teller for earlier quick decisions. That's all, TG.
Thanks for that, President Tony. A couple of points. First of all, you should be a private wealth client, and then you don't have to go to the branch anymore. Follow your family. But the reality, President Tony, PP Tony, is the fact that that queuing system, what you put in is the account number where the check goes into, but you don't put the details of the check. You just put the amount. So we don't know that it's a BPI check. But what it does is it queues up that into the teller so that all she has to do is check that the amounts are correct. Then she scans the check and then she can process. So it speeds up the processing. When she has to stand up is because she needs an override for a certain large amount. And I guess I don't have an answer to why it takes minutes. Right? But I can guarantee if you join our private wealth, we'll come to you.
Thank you. PP Junjun.
Consider this as a customer complaint or something. I've downloaded your app several times. The last one I downloaded, but before that, I had no problem with the app. But this particular app that I'm using now, when I download the statement for my credit card, it says that the statement has been downloaded, but I can never find it in my downloads. I don't know where the PDF goes. So I don't know if that's a problem with my phone. I don't think so. It might be a problem with the app. I don't know where the app stores I cannot simply find it in my phone.
Alex can help you. I think I think what happens, to be honest, is it should open automatically. When you download the
No, it
PDF,
doesn't.
yeah,
It doesn't
is.
open automatically.
Is that an iPhone?
No, it's an Android.
Maybe Alex can take a look.
Okay, that will be our last question for today, unless there's one more. Okay, one more.
Just like to note from the speaker, the impact of this AI on the workforce.
Yes.
Because this AI would certainly increase productivity and would replace human.
Yeah.
So what is the future of the workforce,
I think the
especially
bigger,
in the banking industry?
I think in the banking industry, as most of you know, the banking industry, we're always catching up in terms of trying to improve customer service, right? I think so I don't think there's a big change because in terms of the workforce, our people will always be secure because we just get more clients, more questions come in, and the AI will just support them, right? I think the big question for this country is how our whole BPO industry that is potentially at risk with AI, right? Because you have so many people who are reliant on voice help that can be completely replaced by AI as AI gets better. In fact, there's even many years ago, I was already looking at technology where AI is answering the questions verbally already, and all the agent has to do is listen to two conversations. So it's already doubled the productivity. So it is something that our BPO industry has to face. And then you think about our artistic industry where we have a lot of animators, the creatives, that will all be replaced. Right? In fact, I tried to get Copilot to draw me a picture of Bing Matoto and TG Limcalco. It didn't do it. But it's possible. If you go to Copilot and say, draw me a picture of a camel running through the desert drinking water, it will do it for you.
So thank you very much. So once again, a round of applause for our guest speaker today, Mr. T.G. Limcauco. So at this point, for their response, I'd like to call President Bing Matoto, followed by President Dax Carlos for their response.
Well, TG, as usual, you've delivered a great talk, quite convincing. And, we certainly will continue to be a BPI shareholder, and we're looking forward to a higher price soon, very soon. And for those of you guys who are still holding on to BPI shares, keep on holding them. You guys haven't been doing any bonus cash dividends, have you? Beyond the usual.
Been raising.
Okay.
You know what your dividend was last night?
No, sorry.
Too much money.
Okay. Anyway, PG, thank you so much again. And I think, judging from the questions, I think obviously people had a great time and we're informed. No? And so, and thank you very much for bringing your team. And we look forward to being able to perhaps work with BPI on some CSR, and so some projects, of course, together with Makati West. So, PG, thank you so much. Okay. Let me quickly explain this, TG. This one, as you can see, is a plaque, no? That's attached to a reef bud. One of our projects is to regenerate, so to speak, coral reef. So this will be attached to a reef bud, probably in Narvacan, or I'm not too sure exactly when we'll do it, but we have different places, and this will be brought down to the sea. So you'll be immortalized. When you go diving, you should go to Narvacan and take a look at your name. Anyway, beyond that, we have this book, as usual. I don't know if you're going to read it. It's 55 years, but take your time, and then we've got a bottle of wine to go with it. All right? Thank you so much.
PPTG. It's funny that we have to go to RC Makati to see you and to listen to you talk. But I think our brothers would agree with me that it was well worth it. And we hope to see you in our future fellowships. And I'm proud to say though that in my term, we're fully banking with BPI already now.
Yeah.
I don't have a bottle of wine to give you today, but if you go to the fellowship tomorrow, there'll be free flowing scotch. And of course, the gift of life needs no introduction, but we're pleased to present to you this certificate as a loving donor in the PDA Coil Performance on beneficiary Mark Angelo Orgaya, a 3-year-old from Kupang, Antipolo City, a recipient of the Club's Gift of Life project. So more power to you, TG, more power to BPI, and we hope to see you soon.
The meeting is adjourned.
The meeting's adjourned.